Hey, it's Kim Komando today, your daily podcast to keep you up to date with all things digital and beyond. And I'd love to have you be a part of our podcast. You can make an appointment to speak with me. Just head over to Komando.com, and on the top right, there's a button that says Email Kim. Fill that out, and that's it. I always like to start with a little something that I found super interesting. And let's talk about Genesis, which is Hyundai's luxury arm. They have a model called the GV60. It's an EV priced around $60,000. Now, the reason why I'm telling you about it is because I think this is so great. It's the first EV to use facial recognition. Yep, no keys, folks, and nothing on your phone. You just touch the door handle and place your face near the camera, and then the car unlocks, and then you can start it. But, it makes you wonder. I mean, what happens if you get a facelift and you can't just keep smiling about it? I know, that one was funny. I heard you laugh. And on that happy note, welcome, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, to this. It's America's largest show about all things digital, your most trusted source. It's called The Kim Komando Show because, after all, it's quite the quinky dinky. I just happen to be, Kim Komando. And you can find our award-winning show on over 420 top stations across the United States. And you can find us as a commercial-free podcast and also as a webcast over at Komando.com. You get a free 30-day trial, and after that, it's just a few bucks a month. Again, that address is Komando.com, of course, the official homepage of the show. And a special shout-out goes to our listeners on the American Forces Network Radio, serving more than 375,000 American servicemen and women in the Army, the Navy, the Air Force, the Marine Corps, the Coast Guard, and the Space Force in 175 different countries. And I know there's something that I can help you with, and I'm right here for you, and I'm your friend. And that's why our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. Once again, is the way to join us. And if you're just too dang shy to come on a big-time show and podcast, hey, I get that. Just head over to the website, and then the upper right-hand corner, there's a link that says Email Kim. All right, every single day I check out all these different websites. I've added it all up. It's at least 30 different websites because I want to make sure that we are both up to date on everything that we need to know that's happening in the tech world. And this is part of the show where I like to pass along 5 really important things. And coming in at number 1, drum roll please, the big Google announcements. Every year in May, Google rolls out the red carpet and they say, here's what we're going to be changing in hardware and software. And the big focus that took place this past week was AI. And I can't believe I'm going to say this, but Google's trying to keep up with Bing. Okay, that's a phrase that I never, ever, ever thought I would say. So Google's revamping their search site. It's going to put AI in search just like Bing's working. But instead of links, the AI is going to spew out a text-based answer. So you're not going to have links to websites anymore like ChatGPT. So what does this mean to you if you have a website? Really big stuff. Really, really big stuff. I actually told you that this was going to be happening in January. So you should have been listening to me then. But here we are in May, and now Google says they're going to be doing it. The traffic to your website's going to go down, down, down because people aren't going to be searching for things in Google, and then Google's not going to be sending those people to your website. So what about other things? Well, Google Bard, that's their AI. They're going to be putting it inside of all the workplace apps, like Docs, Sheets, Slides. It's called Duet AI, and it's going to answer questions, summarize stories, read your work in each app. This is a big threat to Microsoft. Another announcement, Android 14. You can get the beta right now. So what's in it? You can customize your home screen. You get cinematic wallpapers, clock faces, kind of cool. And finally, the big kahuna was the Pixel Fold. This is Google's phone, and it folds, and that's exactly what it does. It's good for people if you want some more room in your pockets, but it's going to cost you $1,800. Not for a laptop. I'm saying for a phone that folds. $1,800. Coming in at number 2 of our 5 things is what's cheaper, an Uber or a Lyft? So which company wins the price battle across the United States? A new study from consumer finance company CashNet USA, they analyzed Lyft and Uber prices against each other with fair prices in every major U.S. city. And what they found is that Uber is cheaper. That's right. Uber rides were a whopping $4.71 cheaper in Wisconsin, $4.22 in Minnesota, $4 in Pennsylvania, Places where Lyft was the best. This is interesting. New York State. That's right. Lyft rides were cheaper there, costing $3 less on average than New York Uber rides. So even with the gap, you just overall, Uber is going to be always cheaper. Now, the place with the biggest discrepancy, the Big Easy, New Orleans. Lyft is over $12 more expensive in New Orleans than Uber. So if you're in New Orleans, that's when you want to take a Lyft. Everywhere else, you want to, well, except for the state of New York, is that you're going to want to be using Uber. And just imagine, we talked about Google. Now we're talking about Uber. Imagine if Google purchased Uber, then it would be called Goober. All right, maybe not. Number 3, Amazon's TikTok inspiration. So Gen Zers, okay, study done by HubSpot says that 33% of Gen Zers have made a purchase based on what an influencer told them in the last 3 months. That's huge. So Amazon's saying, come on over here, little boys and girls. And so if you open up your Amazon app on your phone, there's going to be a light bulb at the bottom of the screen. And like magic, what pops up is a TikTok-like feed. You see videos and pictures from Amazon influencers and Amazon reviews. That's going to be important. I'm going to tell you why. Because if you've ever left a video or photo review on Amazon, it can be used in what Amazon's calling their Inspire feed. So if you don't want that, wherever you left your Amazon reviews, make sure that you just take it down. So if you see something you like, you just click on it and bam, it's right in your cart. That's it. Crazy, isn't it? Coming in at number 4, the TurboTax man cheateth. What? If you make less than $73,000 a year, you can file your taxes for free on any site, including TurboTax. But here's the kicker. TurboTax has been playing some tricky games with their tax services. And according to some extensive reporting from ProPublica, TurboTax has been using deceptive design and misleading advertising to trick lower-income Americans into paying to file their taxes, even though they could do it for free. Well, TurboTax got caught. All 50 states and the District of Columbia announced a $141 million settlement with Intuit. Of course, that's the maker of TurboTax. Now, you're eligible if you tried to use TurboTax Free Edition for tax years 2016 through 2018. TurboTax has to pay back the 4.4 million people who were tricked. Now, if that is you, what you want to do is go to this website. We have it also on Komando.com. It's agturbotaxsettlement.com. That's agturbotaxsettlement.com. Again, if you missed that, we have it posted over on the website. And this, coming in at number 5, where the jobs and money are. So let's say you're a pocket protector geek, or you know someone who is. These are the best and the worst states to score a well-paying IT or cybersecurity job. We're going to start with cybersecurity. So where should you go if you want to make the most money? San Jose, San Francisco, New York, and Seattle, and Austin, Texas. Okay. So again, San Jose, San Francisco, New York, Seattle, and Austin. Okay. All the other major cities in Texas, this is interesting to me, are among the worst paying for most cybersecurity and IT jobs, except for Austin. Wow. What about IT support? You want to go to Washington, D.C., New York, again, San Francisco, Los Angeles. Okay. And we're talking about IT support techs, engineers, help desk, support analysts. Those jobs are always in demand the most in the state of California. So you're going to find the highest demand for cybersecurity pros in Montana, Washington, Oregon, Colorado, and Florida. Again, if you missed any of this, we do have it written up over on the website. But I'll tell you something. Where did all the cybersecurity consultants go for the last few days? You know where they went? They ran somewhere. All right. Coming up, we're going to talk about, are your nudes safe to store in the cloud? Oh, our money tip, we have the best free online financial calculators that you don't want to miss. And still to come later on, the secret phone ID giving away all your personal details. And of course, we have your phone calls, and you have me, Kim Komando. Hey, our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254 is the way to join us. And you're in for a treat because I have a special guest on the line right now. Hey, now that online betting is totally legal, it's become way simpler to place bets on your favorite teams. And all you have to do is whip out your phone and you log into an app like FanDuel or BetMGM, and you just throw some money down. Easy as that. You can do it while you're driving, while you're walking, while you're just planted on the couch. But with how easy it is to gamble online, what are the average overall returns on online sports bets? Well, that's the question investment journalist Randall Smith sought to answer in a recent article that I read over at the Wall Street Journal. And when I read this article, I was like, oh my gosh, I totally need to have a chance to talk to Randall all about this. Because his results, online bettors are losing out. So, Randall, thanks for joining us.
Sure, Kim. Nice to see you.
My first question for you, Randall, is how did you go about coming up with an idea for this story?
Well, I watched the Super Bowl and the football playoffs, and everything you saw was an ad for sports betting. And, they have all these celebrities, Gronkowski and Jamie Foxx and et cetera. And so I was like, I'm a stock and bond reporter. I write about mutual funds. And I was like, gee, I wonder how the bettors do. And, the mutual funds, they have to disclose the results, but they don't disclose them in the sports betting. So I was like, gee, I wonder what you can find out. So that was sort of my starting point. And I am a financial reporter. So it turns out, even though they don't disclose them to the bettors, they disclose the odds and the hold rates to the investors because they want their stock to go up. And they have to disclose it to the regulators.
And so how are everyday folks losing out when they start placing these bets on, say, FanDuel or BetMGM or DraftKings or any of the other ones?
Well, what the disclosures say is that for a regular single game bet, the house will keep about 5%, and they may pay out zero, and they may pay out all the bets for one game and only 90% of the bets for another game. And so the overall return rate to the house, the house keeps 5% of all the money bet, and that means if you're a bettor, you're gonna lose overall on average. You'll lose 5% per bet.
So, do you have any inclination how that compares to, say, the odds in Vegas?
The odds in Vegas are a little bit. This is in my story. There's a fellow named Anthony Curtis, and he gave me some estimates of the odds at casinos in Vegas and racetracks, and they're actually a bit worse. So, but the sports bet odds are sort of creeping in that direction. There's been a lot of promotion and free bets, and now they're trying to collect on some of that and make more money.
You mentioned parlay betting. That was a big focus in your story. Can you explain that to everyone who's listening and watching right now?
Sure. The standard bet is, who's going to win or who's going to lose. And a parlay might be on several different games, or it might be on several elements of a game. And one of the examples I gave in the story was there was a parlay bet on FanDuel, on the FanDuel homepage before the Super Bowl, which had four elements. Who's going to win? Is Travis Kelce going to catch a touchdown? Is Isaiah Pacheco going to run for 45 yards? And how many yards is Patrick Mahomes going to pass for? And the odds on the bet were 8-1, but the bet did not pay off. So anybody who tried it lost. But a parlay is a multi-leg bet, and the house will keep a lot bigger percentage on a parlay.
Were you able to get into any of the operations behind these online betting apps and how they promote things within the apps to show people the bets that they want them to make?
They will. Well, the FanDuel website has a parlay on it every day, a different parlay. And there was a guy in Chicago who tried it out for 50 straight days. He bet $1 on each parlay, and what a surprise! He only won one out of the 50. So he spent $50 and he won 12. So he basically lost more than 75% of his money. They also will offer them free. They'll give you a free X amount of dollars and you can bet on a parlay. But it's sort of to get you into the mindset of, hey, well, look, I can win 8-1, so I'm going to try this. I'm going to take a flyer.
And how much are these online betting firms making?
Well, they're not. That is the big push on this on these parlays, is they're still unprofitable because they had all these costs to get all the state legislators to approve online sports betting, and then to take all these ads on TV with all these celebrities, Rob Gronkowski and the Kick of Destiny. And they also, offered a lot of free bets and promo deals. So they have not been profitable yet, but they're trying to be profitable. And that's sort of one of the big pushes behind the shift to parlays. And so the hold rates, like, for example, FanDuel reports that it's all these various state regulators, they're number one in the market share. Their hold rate has gone from 6.5 to 9.9 in the past 4 years.
Randall, thank you so much for joining us and explaining it all.
You're welcome, Kim. Glad to.
All right, so the bottom line is this. If you're using betting apps like FanDuel, BetMGM, DraftKings, or any of the others, just remember not to get pulled by all these promotions. They're going to draw you into placing those bets that are more risky and it's more money. And okay, you may get more money if you win, but okay, the likelihood of you winning is really, really slim. Isn't that something? Hey, I just want to remind you that if you're not getting our newsletters, you are totally missing out. Head over to getkim.com. You're going to love them. Over 400,000 folks do. That address, getkim.com. Once again, getkim.com. Hey, it's time now for what I like to call commanding the tech world trivia. Okay, get your brain cells ready for an epic challenge for commanding the tech world trivia. And this is not bingo. These are brain-busting questions. And to add to all the excitement, well, we have a special guest ready and waiting to take on the challenge for the ultimate grand prize. That's right, an official Kim Komando Show fanny pack. That's worth $24.99, and a free bag of Dr. Marnie's Nature's Blend dog food. That's a value of $59.95. And joining us this week is Howard in Fort Hood, Texas. Hello there, Howard.
Hello.
Glad to have you with us. All right, we're going to be playing trivia, so I'm going to ask you a question, and it's up to you to give us the right answer. Are you ready to play?
Well, I'm ready.
Okay, well, graduation season is here, and they're talking about the parties, the gifts, and the thoughts of, OMG, I totally need to get a real job now. So these famous tech personalities are all college dropouts, Howard, except for one of them, okay? So who did not drop out of college? Was it Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or Elon Musk? So which of these tech CEOs, big wigs, personalities are all college dropouts except for the one guy? Is it Michael Dell, Steve Jobs, Mark Zuckerberg, or Elon Musk? What's your answer, Howard?
Well, I'm going to guess Michael Dell.
Okay, so Michael Dell, he went to college. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Let's see what our judges say. Oh, Howard. Michael Dell, founder of Dell, of course, he dropped out of the University of Texas at Austin when he was 19. Steve Jobs, of course, founder of Apple, he dropped out of Reed College. He was also 19 years old when he did that. So that leaves us Mark Zuckerberg or Elon Musk. So what do you think, Howard? Which one is it?
Oh, I'll just take a swing at Michael Zuckerberg.
Mark Zuckerberg, he also dropped out. He dropped out of Harvard at 20 years old. Okay. So.
Well, you're making me feel like a dropout.
No, not at all, Howard. Elon Musk. Elon Musk was a student at the University of Pennsylvania at the age of 24. He got a Bachelor of Science in Physics and then a Bachelor of Science in Economics from the Wharton School of Business. And then I looked this up online because I was thinking, I wonder if he was really like a good student. I wonder if he was like that nerd, that geek of the week that just sat in the library and just studied all the time. Well, as it turns out, his classmates, and this was in his biography by Ashley Vance, they said that he was an average student, and his classmates thought he was likable, quiet, and, in their words, an unspectacular student. Okay, so it's like, all right, okay, so he didn't graduate cum laude, but that's okay. All right. So Howard, thanks for playing. Thanks for playing along, and I know you have a question for me, and so how can I lend a hand?
Well, I'm grateful you're going to try to help me with this. My wife and I do a lot of motorhome travel, and our next trip is into the eastern province of Canada. And we like to stay in contact, but we've been advised there's a lot of regions where you have little or no internet connection. So we talked about Starlink. Yes, thank you. And but it's going to take several weeks to get here. We won't have time to test it, etc. So I checked on the Mama Roku portable wireless router. Now I have one. I've got it connected. Sure. It works here, but I can't find any customer-related comments about it. All I read is the manufacturer and distributors, which is makes me circumspect.
Well, it's you've got two different technologies here. Okay, so the Royco, that's using a 4G LTE connection. That's a cellular connection. Okay, so it's going to pick up the signal from the cell towers and convert it to Wi-Fi that you can then again use on multiple devices while you're RVing around Canada. Okay, but like any traditional Wi-Fi cell signal, you know this, right, Howard? Is that
right?
You don't always have all your bars in all places, and it seems like when you really want it, you're like, oh my gosh, I have one bar. That's all I have.
Right.
Okay. And so, is it good in a pinch? Yeah. But I can tell you Starlink, if you go to starlink.com/Rome, is that I have Starlink as a backup internet provider for one of my houses. Okay.
Oh,
works
okay.
Flawlessly. Okay. Works so good, Howard, that I have a boat and I also put it in the boat. And so that this way, when we're out on the ocean and we're going all around the Pacific, is that we can still get Starlink. And it's, it's unlimited high speed, low latency, and you can use it as needed. It's not cheap. The hardware is $600, and it's about $150 a month for the RV. But I will tell you that you're not going to have this issue of, oh my gosh, there's a mountain in the way. Okay. And you're like, okay, you can download all your maps and put it offline. And, we know all that. And that's great. And with the new iPhone 14, of course, if you get into trouble, you have SOS, you got satellite messaging. Okay. But if you're looking for a standard, a reliable internet connection in this RV that no matter, so as long as you have a view of the sky, which hopefully, Howard, you always will, right? 100%.
Yeah.
Okay. That you'll be able to get out on the internet. Now, as far as, the delay and the time, and yes, because it is very popular, it's growing like crazy, is that there is a time frame. I had to wait, I want to say 10 to 12 days before I was able to get it. But maybe there's a way that, they can have it delivered to maybe a P.O. box or maybe, to another facility, wherever you're going. Maybe you can pick it up at a local distributor, whoever it may be. But I will tell you that if given the choice between a crappy 4G LTE connection and a reliable satellite connection, I'm going to go with the satellite connection every day of the week. And Howard, thank you for your call and safe travels. Just one thing about that Starlink Roam plan is that it does have a 2-month restriction. So if you're going to be in Canada for 2 months, what's going to happen with Starlink is they're going to change your address to Canada for tax purposes. All right. I don't give investment advice ever here on the show. But what we did is we put together a whole list of the best financial calculators on the web to help you get your debt under control, plan for retirement, see what your net worth is, and a whole bunch more. So like, for example, NerdWallet, they have this great financial calculator, super easy to use, to help you pay off your debt. Now, if you want to plan for retirement, that's when we're going to send you over to AARP because they have that covered. If you want to know what your net worth is, Take Charge America is a nonprofit that has a whole bunch of free financial education resources. Now, if you want to know if you're a millionaire, we've got a website with a calculator for that. And then also for mutual funds, You want to make sure that these fees are not eating away at your returns. So for links to all of these financial calculators, just head to one spot. That's Komando.com. And when you're there, hit the link that says Kim Show. All right, still to come, we have more of your phone calls as well as a great tip about the secret phone ID that could be giving away your personal details right now here on Kim Komando Today. All right, back to the phones we go with Craig in Lebanon, Tennessee.
Well, had a little incident at Mass a few weeks ago. My daughter had her backpack stolen out of the back of my truck. I got about other 12 people in the parking lot while we were all in church. And
That's awful.
I know.
That's just awful.
Yeah, they stole a phone from a blind man, so you can tell there's some karma coming around at some point.
Yeah, I sure hope so.
Yeah. So anyway, my daughter had a MacBook Air, and her mother was able to get that locked down, and she had AirPods and some other stuff in there along with her books. She decided I was going to replace everything, so she decided she wanted to go the PC route. So we got a Surface 5 and got enough memory and storage and everything on there to get her through, hopefully, to college. She's 15 now. And the things that I normally get done, you get the Geek Squad to do that and got all that done. But there were three things I wanted to make sure that because of this incident that we don't have that happen again. The first one being I wanted to make sure that there was a way that I could put either an app on there or something where we could remotely lock it down if something like that were to happen again, because I'd love to just make it a brick, and that way they can't do anything with it but sell it for parts. I want to also, because she's been putting her notes in that she had to go back and get for a month now, that trying to get those back in. So I want to be able to get a backup. Now, she's got OneDrive, so when she's using the Office 365 apps, she can get those backed up. But I'm thinking for anything else, I've got Carbonite on mine and the iDrive on my dad's. And would that be better than putting on maybe an external hard drive and having her, keep that because, she'll be...
Okay, well, let's just stop right there, Craig. Before you go through all three, let's just go one by one, okay? As far as the tracking and remote wipe software on the MacBook, I mean, yeah, it's fabulous. You just hit one button and it's like, poof, everything's gone. Yeah. A similar option is called Prey, Prey. And it's at preyproject.com. It's free for up to 3 devices.
Oh, perfect.
And that includes both tracking and remote wipe features. So again, you're going to use Prey Project. It's been around for a long time. Let's move on to the cloud backup. Is Carbonite, like you mentioned, they've been around for a long time. They've kind of focused more on enterprise, and that's where they've kind of pointed that ship. And we use and recommend iDrive here. I know Carbonite, they were a sponsor of the show for, I think, like 10 crazy years. Yeah. But then they told us they were getting out of the consumer market business, and then that's when we picked up iDrive. And it'll back up everything, and it's, use my name, Kim, you save like 90% the first year. It's about $8 a month, so that this way everything aside from 365 is also backed up. Like, her photos or movies or whatever else she may be doing on there that she's not going to come to you and say, Daddy, I just lost everything, because that's heart-wrenching. I know that is. And so, okay, so those two. Then you had a third one.
Yeah. No. Did you just say that that Prey that also has GPS tracking?
It does.
Because my thinking is if it's a software operated that they would have to turn the machine on, and then I might get a blip. But, I didn't know whether I needed to find something that was similar to a LoJack where they don't have to do anything but just have it in their hand and I can find them.
Well, it is software related. You can always put on something like a GPS tracker on it. You can actually get some type of laptop case and put a tile or, she has an iPhone and an AirTag attached to it. But thieves are so keen to them right now. I would just assume that they're going to turn it on, and whoever they try to sell it, it's going to be turned on to even see if it works. So I don't think that's necessary to put a type of LoJack on that.
Okay.
And then you had a third? You said you had three things? I've counted number 2, and I'm blonde, but let's get to the third one. Okay.
Yeah, it was the making sure to get prayed, and then also the backup, and then the GPS tag it.
Okay, perfect. Well, one thing that you might want to check, and with the Apple serial numbers and stuff, I'm sure you filed a police report, and
yes,
there are some cases where these things do come back at some point, but it's just horrible. You're in church and you don't want to take everything in with you. I mean, I do that myself when I go to Mass. I leave my phone in my car because maybe I shouldn't say that. No, I go to Mass and I take my phone with me into church. Always, 100%. Ugh, what a nightmare. Greg, thank you for your call. Hey, speaking of church, this actually happened to me at church last Sunday. Okay, a nice woman, she came to my pew and she said, "Excuse me, is this seat saved?" And I looked at her and I said, "No, but I've been praying for it." And she looked at me like, "I don't get that." I'm like, "It was a joke. Ha, 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 ha." Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, did you know that there's a hidden code attached to your phone that gives advertisers and marketers access to your private data? Yeah, it's called the Mobile Advertising ID, or MAID for short. Now, in a nutshell, this code attached to your phone collects data about your online activity. Now, your MAID is supposed to be anonymous and should not be connected to your name or any type of sensitive information. But as it turns out, that's not the case. Yeah, shocker, right? There are reports of slimy data brokers who boast of collecting this MAID data and then connect them to your personal information. So what's there? Talking about your full name, your address, your phone number, your email address, your IP address. Yeah, a lot of stuff that does identify you. But there is a way to make sure none of what your phone collects on you is attached to your MAID. Here's what you need to do. On your iPhone or Android, just head to your settings and you need to find wherever it is, disable personalized ads. Again, you want to turn off disable personalized ads, and that's all there is to it. All right, if you learned one thing, if you laughed once at, or even if you groaned at one of my bad jokes, okay, do me a favor and tell 3 friends about the Kim Komando Show and the Kim Komando Today podcast, because everyone needs more tech smarts. And knowledge is power. You can find me always at Komando.com.
This program is a copyrighted production of Westar Multimedia Entertainment and protected by the copyright laws. Any rebroadcast or use of this program for commercial, business, economic, or financial purposes without the written permission of Westar Multimedia Entertainment is strictly prohibited.